LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.
It really hasn't sunk in yet. I mean, we have really gave the opponent a lot of respect. You know, the first time coaching against him, and you know, just trying to find that, you know, balance of how to defend them and how to attack them and things like that. You know, they're real different what they do defensively and offensively than what we've had to see to just get to this path. So you always got to make sure in your preparation a little bit. You know, we knew we had to get through a kind of a gauntlet on our side of the bracket in order to get to state. So we really didn't ever focus on whether we would even get back here without having to focus on the task at hand. So a really unfamiliar opponent really kind of took its toll. So it really hadn't kind of sunk in yet. I'm kind of really anxious to kind of dive into the film. But I mean, I thought the defense was lights out. I mean, you know, they've been that way. You know, even last year and even into this year, they're really fun. And you know, our defensive coordinator, you know, Ligon West, you know, he's a state champion from Stanford, Texas. And obviously, they'll be playing here. It's in his pedigree, and he called a great game, and the kids executed, you know, lights out.
Questions from the floor? You know, Coach, you talked about this being the second title and having not set in yet. Last year, how long did it take to set in? And do you think it's going to kind of take the same amount of time this year?
It set in kind of pretty quick, you know, kind of last year. You know, it just kind of didn't just fall into our lap, you know, but I just felt like all year we kind of got ahead of the curve a little bit sooner than what we thought as a program. But that's a testament to the parents and to the community. So it was pretty good to celebrate that one kind of quick. And so right now I'm really just trying to process it, because an old man gave me some long, you know, advice a long time ago when I was young, and you know, at Rule we went back to back, and it's just so hard to get here once. And then let alone the adversity and things that you battle have nothing to do with the 40 by 80 football field. You know, we had injuries this year, and some things that we just really had to battle and rally around. And you know, we've got a phenomenal scout team that prepped us for this. You know, the JVs only lost to one team in the last 3 years, and you know, our junior highs have, you know, been district championships, you know, the last several years. And so they're the ones that really got us prepared for this. I mean, I went by and loved up the 3 kids that had a number 3 jersey on for the last 10 days. And, you know, I need to go hug their mamas, because, you know, they were, you know, to simulate, you know, Ethan Kaufman and how phenomenal that he is, and get hit every day by these guys for 10 straight days. You know, it takes everybody. So I want to go love up on those guys, because, man, I'm telling you that, yes, these guys are some thoroughbreds, but I'm telling you, the guys behind the scenes that make this happen, and the coaching staff. So we got to go love up on them before we celebrate.
Striker, what did you see on the final play?
Oh man, well, I made the wrong read. I'm gonna be honest, I made the wrong read. It all ended up working out, but yeah, once I got past the first line, barely, because I made the wrong read. We had phenomenal downfield blocks. I couldn't ask for a better downfield block, and you know, Coach Reed drew it up in halftime. So I trusted him. I knew that, you know, even with the wrong read, he knew what he was doing. He knew what play he was going to call. So, you know, and we planned out our celebration during halftime. I'll be honest with you. We planned out during halftime, so, you know, it's just fun to be out there on the last play.
For the Texas high school football fan that has not experienced a 1A game just yet, a 6-man game, what would you have to say to them?
I would say, don't use bathroom breaks. Don't go to concession stand unless it's halftime or before or after the game. Because anything can happen. There's 6 guys trying to stop the ball. And, you know, if one guy misses a tackle, it could be house call. And then, yeah, it's just a lot different, a lot faster, higher scoring, faster pace. So if you blink, you can miss a lot.
So show up, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll ask Green, Coach. You mentioned the defense. What does it mean to be the top defensive team in 6-man this year, holding them to 24 points? What you achieved this year?
I'll be honest with you. You know, that stuff to me really doesn't mean anything, to be honest. It might to other people. You know, we had an opportunity. We had a nice 45-point streak going, and it's not something that we talk about or really kind of do. You know, we had the ball and opportunity to score against Abbott and keep the streak going and things like that. But you know, what comes around goes around. You know, we work hard and we try to break records. Somebody's going to try to break our record. I don't know. I don't put much stock into that, to be honest with you. I'm proud. It's nice to be able to say that they were able to do it. But, you know, in the end, you know, being 15-0, I'd have taken a 1-point game, 100-101, and put this thing around our neck. However, you know, a pretty win, a pretty, you know, ugly win, I don't care. So, but, you know, I guess if they want to talk about stats, yeah, that's something nice to talk about.
Coach, it seems like 70 is the magic number. 70 points won it last year, 70 points wins it again this year. You guys feel like 70 is just that nice magical number?
I feel like I'm 70 years old. Yeah. It ages you a lot. It's a fun profession, but it's a stressful profession in that too.
I know you said it hadn't really sunk in yet, but you only graduate 2 seniors, and every single person who's up here with you right now is going back next year. When do you start thinking breathing?
I don't put much stock into that right now. You know, we have 2 seniors. I'm telling you, when you go back and watch the film, you know, Juan Cabrera and Maddox Stewart, I've had them since they were itty bitty little ones, and you know, they're like sons to me, and they're huge. You can go back and study the film and what they do, and they take on blocks and do things and do the dirty work. They show up every summer. We're missing 2 huge seniors. Yes, we bring back some really nice pieces and we bring back some really nice depth, but we had a conversation with, there's 2 kids that are been their backups all year that have stepped in and played the role through some injuries, and we had to communicate with them beforehand. Here, we're on the biggest stage, and their playing time went down immensely. And that's what we talked about at halftime. You know, these kids are my kids. And so, and sitting there talking about, start talking about repeats and things like that. It's just day to day, show up and do our job. And if we thought adversity was going to hit and win in the second one, I can't even imagine what round 3 is going to be like. So I'd rather not think about it.
Coach, a few weeks ago you told me after the Jonesboro game that last year you felt like the underdog throughout the playoffs, and this year you felt like you had the target on your back, that everyone's trying to be the underdog to you. So for you guys, you know, how do you respond to that, you know, being the underdogs last year, not being the underdogs this year, but still being able to get the job done at the end of the day?
I feel like, in any situation, I feel like an underdog. Everybody wants us to win. The target's always on our back. We just gotta play our game and do our best.
Kind of like Brandon said, I think kind of how we thrive is just kind of taking that villain role, kind of making it kind of fun, just to try to do what everybody wants us not to do, right? And so I think that's kind of what we thrive on.
Yeah, teams try to beat us whether we're the underdog or have the target on our back. So it's still football. We look at it the same way that we got some points to go.
I agree with what they all have said. It's just a sport. Everybody's gonna try to beat you. No matter if you're underdog or you're on top.
Well, I think for us, times have changed on a lot of things. You have to find extrinsic motivation. I think we all need that for a little bit, not to be complacent. And you have to find the smallest little things, and we find them all in our personal lives. Somebody says, "Oh, you can't do this," and you want to get to that challenge and things like that. Social media is really been a great tool for us to be able to get motivated and do things. And we knew that we had a tall task, and it doesn't take long for an Ethan Kaufman name to be repeated so much that that you motivate yourself to be able to stand the test. And so sometimes you forget about just the game part is like, hey, we have to be able to establish something that people are saying we can't do. And so as the season goes on, those motivations change, those tasks change. And so for us, that's kind of where we're at.
Coach, we only have 4 minutes of possession day. How does that affect what you guys are able to do defensively? Because a physical team like Whiteface, possessing the ball, driving down the field, it seems seemed like it didn't really phase you guys.
Well, and we got a little bit nervous about this kind of as it went forward, because with Abbott, we jumped up 38-0. Juan Cabrera's kind of been fighting a pretty good severe hamstring pull. So we kind of had to move and remove him out, and then we misaligned a couple times and kept going. We're really glad that became a 4-quarter game, because, you know, you're talking from August to December, we're averaging 9 plays a game, 11 plays a game. And you're trying to convince high school boys on a Tuesday practice, hey, I'm just going to run the fire out of you till you throw up, because we got to be prepared for December 18th. Doesn't really always work with high school boys to get motivated to come to practice. So being creative in our practices to figure out a way to condition, but the temperatures and everything in the Abbott game was pouring rain, freezing 40 degrees, and our conditioning went down. But once that game was over, and I just know this through track, when you get a bye week sometimes from when you peak performed at a meet, then you get a bye week before you got to peak perform again. You have a small window of time that you can actually tap into another level of conditioning. And so instead of sitting there celebrating beating Abbott and saying, hey, we're at the state championship game, we conditioned every single day and upped our conditioning to get ready for what we knew we were going to have to face.
Hodge with Hodgepack. You've been fortunate enough to be at some great places. It's established great programs. You had some former players today watch it. What does that mean to you, the impact that you've made on those former players, still want to be a part of the success you're having at Gordon?
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to let these kids kind of answer this part. I'll answer the first part, but then I'll kind of let them speak because I don't want to put words in their mouth. When I say that when I coach, they're my kids. They're my kids. I'm going to scold them. I'm going to praise them. I'm going to discipline them. You know, I'm going to love them. I'm a hugger. And so I think it just translates kind of through. I think the last time I checked, and I've been doing this 24 years, 23 years, I have 17 kids who are gone on to be head football coaches or head coaches of a sport. And you know, that to me is what's a big honor, that I'm not running people out of the profession, you know, that, you know, these kids are trying to come into the profession, things like that. Even though I tell every single person, do not become a teacher and coach, they don't listen, and they've gone on to do successful things. I think we can start with Braden, and they can talk just about, you know, maybe the relationship coach piece.
I mean, Coach Reed, I think he's the best. Not only is he my coach, but he's like a father figure, my best friend. But I can say that about the whole coaching staff.
Coach Reed, I think by his talking to me, you can tell he just loves people. He loves being around them. I think I couldn't count how many hugs I've got just today from him. He just loves you, and he sees the best in you.
I'm probably a little biased since he is my father, but I'm going to talk about the other coaching staff. Like, it's not just him, the other coaching staff. Like, the defensive coordinator came up and gave me a hug, and I appreciated that. The JV coach that coached scout team, you know, he wants us to succeed too, even though he's coaching against us every day in practice. Our special team coach, he gets on us when we don't execute in the third phase of the game. Like, they want us to succeed, and I'm glad that we're surrounded by people that expect us and want us to succeed.
Well, every snap of football I've ever played has been under him coaching me. So he's kind of made just our football field just like a second home to me. And really, I spend more time with him than I do with, honestly, with my parents. And it's just a second home now.
So, Coach, this question may have been asked already, but how does it feel to come in here and completely dominate and have this thing over like in the first play of the second half? How does that feel?
Well, there's a couple different things. I think I find my own intrinsic motivation. I've been very blessed, and Coach Ryan Holmes has been a part of a long journey, and there's a lot of familiar faces here that really have been on the journey since I've been in Brule and Throckmorton and so forth like this. You know, this group for me, and I'm getting towards the end of my career, you know, they are the greatest group that I've coached. They would beat any other team that I've coached. And every kid that I've coached will holler at me after this and be like, "Oh, but coach, no." Yes, we would. And there's a level of dominance that I kind of want to leave a stamp on this game. I've been six-man from you know, as long as I can remember, coached by Hall of Fame football coach Nelson Campbell. And I just want to do respect by my community and by my kids. And coming in and putting a statement on a season and ending it is just who we are. It's our brand to just do things right. And the minute this thing's over and we walk out of here, we're going to go try to win the state basketball title. And, you know, we know who we have to go after to do it, and that's where we'll be at. And when that's over, we're going to try to win state baseball, and then we're going to try to win the state track meet again. And so we have a level of just passion and intensity and pride in our craft. And so to come in and do what we did today, you know, is worth a pat on the back. And they'll get that. They'll get the pat on the back. But for me, on an individual, I still have work to do. You know, I'm in this profession, and when I leave here, it'll get back to start.
Final question.
Striker, any thoughts on your dad's legacy? You know, between Rule and Throckmorton and now getting 2 titles in Gordon?
Man, when I think of his legacy, I don't necessarily think of all the rings and accomplishments he's had. I think, going back to the previous question asked, I think about how he impacted the kids he's coached. Like, not only to win, but to win in a manner that your kids then want to go be coaches, even after he tells them no, just because he makes them fall in love with the game. I fell in love with the game. I would agree that these fellas fell in love with the game. And then, yeah, his previous players came and watched the game today because he just makes them love the game because that's the type of guy he is.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.